Your kids aren't welcome on the New Year cruise, my brother declared. His son jeered. Tickets cost $3,200 each, so Happy New Year here. Actually, kid, I financed every single ticket. They posted cruise photos without us. When the ship sailed, and they saw us waving from the deck, I simply smiled. Happy New Year. Seems like you're the one celebrating at home. Intro music fades into narrator's voice. Emotional hook, dramatic, slightly incredulous tone. Can you believe your own family, the people you grew up with, would actually kick your kids off a New Year's cruise you paid for? Because that's exactly what happened to us. And what unfolded next? Well, it changed everything for good. Narrator's voice, slightly more relaxed but still personal. My name's Eston. I'm 34. Most days, I host a podcast where I get to ask people tough questions and really listen to what they're not saying. I'm a husband to Jenna and a dad to two amazing kids who, let's be honest, think room service pancakes are the absolute peak of human civilization. In my family, I've always been the reliable one. Which, let's be real, is just a nice way of saying I'm the guy with the credit card on file. New Year's was supposed to be easy. Simple. A family cruise, fireworks exploding over the ocean, grandparents hugging grandkids at midnight. I'd booked it months ago, a total surprise for my parents' 35th anniversary. 12 tickets, 2 adjoining cabins for my little crew, then balcony rooms for everyone else. Transfers, the whole 9 yards. I even spotted my brother, Mason, for his deposit because, he just needed a few weeks to pay me back. Voice tightens, slight pause for impact. Then, 2 days before we were supposed to embark, Mason called. There was no hello. No, how are the kids? Just this chilling, matter-of-fact statement. There's no room for your kids on the New Year's cruise. Disbelief, rising anger. I honestly thought I'd misheard him. What? I asked, putting him on speaker. I could hear the TV blaring in the background, the clink of ice in a glass. Then his son, my 15-year-old nephew, piped up, sounding like some little finance manager. Tickets are $3,200 each, so, Happy New Year at home. I just stared at the drywall in my kitchen, like it might give me some answers. My kids were coloring at the table, oblivious. I know, kid, I said, my voice dangerously calm. Because I paid for every single ticket. Silence, then a muffled laugh. Voice lowers, hint of contempt, asterisk, silence on the other end. Then a muffled laugh. Mason, again, we voted. Adults only this time. The vibe is different without toddlers. They're not toddlers, I snapped back, my jaw tightening. They're 7 and 9. Jenna, my rock, gently touched my wrist. Stay cool, she whispered. Mason exhaled dramatically, like I was the one being unreasonable. Look, the ship's full. Nothing we can do. You can still send mom and dad, though. Don't be selfish. Voice filled with raw emotion, a break in his usual composure. I walked into the hallway so my kids wouldn't see the sheer rage on my face. My heart was doing that slow, heavy thud. The kind you can actually hear. I've done 100 interviews about boundaries, about burnout, about family roles. It's funny how all that theory just evaporates when it's your own brother telling your children they don't count. Text me the new cabin list, I said, my voice flat. And send the receipt for the changes. He didn't answer. 10 seconds. 20. Then my phone buzzed. Not a text from him, but a notification from the family group chat. Building tension, frustration, a photo. Matching shirts laid out on a bed, emblazoned with "Ship happens." My parents had commented with heart emojis. My sister, Ivy, wrote, "Can't wait. Adults deserve fun." My phone lit up again. Another text from Mason. "We'll post pics. No hard feelings." I looked at Jenna. She just shook her head. "Don't say anything yet," she warned. I didn't. I just saved the photo, opened my email, and searched for the original confirmations. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's keeping receipts. Literally. Reflective, a sigh, setting historical context. Because this didn't start with a cruise. Oh no. It started years ago, with 1,000 small yes that sounded harmless, one at a time. Yes, I'll cover the electric bill until Friday. Yes, I'll add you to my Amazon so you can watch that show. Yes, I'll book the Airbnb, and you can Venmo me later. Later never came. Or it came in pieces, wrapped in excuses. A Cash App payment at 2:13 a.m. for $40 with a memo. You the best. 3 weeks after a $600 weekend. A promise, a shrug, another promise. Family right. Voice shifts to mild bitterness. When my podcast took off, suddenly I made good money. And that meant I had a duty to share. Mason said it the loudest, but Ivy was the one who always turned it into a consensus. We all help each other, she'd say, which always translated to me helping and everyone else clapping. Last winter, my parents' car died. I bought them a reliable used one. I told Jenna, it's a gift. No strings. She squeezed my hand, her voice soft. Make sure they know it's a gift, not a tap. I nodded. Then I handed the keys over. Mom teared up. Dad said, we'll pay you back when our tax return hits. And Mason just laughed. Or Eston can write it off. I kept smiling. That's my role. The reasonable one. The calm one. I learned a long time ago that raising your voice only makes people decide you're the problem. Hopeful, then disappointed tone. So when I planned this cruise, it felt like something good I could actually steer. A reset. A memory my kids would hold on to forever. I booked early, chose midship cabins so Mom wouldn't get seasick. Paid for the drink package because Dad loves pretending he can taste the difference between sparkling wines. Added the Wi-Fi because Ivy just can't be offline. And I put everything under one umbrella booking, mine. We talked about it for months. The group chat buzzed. Countdowns, excursion links. My dad asking if formal nights still meant a tie. Ivy posting a TikTok of cruise hacks she clearly hadn't read. Mason asking about casino hours. I watched my kids pick their New Year's outfits. My daughter chose glitter sneakers. My son wanted a tie, like Grandpa. It felt so right. Escalation of frustration, disbelief. Then, 3 weeks out, the ask started. Mason, can we swap our interior for a balcony? Ivy said we should all match. Me? Sure. I'll call. I moved things around, paid the difference, telling myself, it's worth it to keep the peace. Ivy, also, can we link our cabin with Mom and Dad's so we're near the elevators? Me, done. 2 weeks out. Mason remembered he hadn't paid me his share. Payday is weird because of holidays, you know how it is. I didn't know. I also knew his watch was newer than mine. I told him we'd settle after the trip. Dawning realization, growing dread. A week out, I noticed something odd in the portal. The primary guest on 2 cabins wasn't me anymore. It was Mason. I called the cruise line. The agent explained politely that someone with the booking number and my last name had updated contact details to streamline check-in. Can they remove guests? I asked. Only the lead guest can remove or reassign, she said. But since it's a linked family booking, any lead can make changes to linked cabins, even if you paid. I'm sorry, sir. We look at the lead, not who swiped the card. I changed the passwords, reset the pins, re-added myself as the lead on everything. I texted Mason. Stop changing the booking. Ask me if you want to move a bed. He replied with a laughing emoji. Control freak much? Shock, betrayal, anger boiling over. 2 days later, he did it again. This time, I got a notice that 2 minors had been removed for capacity. My stomach dropped. I called immediately. After 20 minutes on hold, a supervisor came on. Sir, your family member transferred those guests to another sailing. Those guests are my kids, I said, each word steady, because my hands weren't. The supervisor paused. Sir, I can see that you paid the initial deposit for all cabins. Do you want me to lock the booking so changes require your voice code? Yes. I practically yelled. Before I do, she added carefully, there's something else. Your brother requested to add a 3rd adult to his cabin. That would exceed capacity unless minors are moved. I closed my eyes. The pieces clicked into place, cold and sharp. Add no one, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Lock everything. Quiet contemplation, shared pain with Jenna. That night, Jenna and I sat at the kitchen table while the kids slept. She set her mug down and looked at me. You know what this is, right? I know, I said. I just hate that it's happening around a thing I wanted for our kids. You wanted a memory, she finished for me. They want a sponsor. I nodded. They're going to make me the villain if I say no. She squeezed my fingers. They already did. Sarcasm, rising resolve. In the morning, the group chat was buzzing with new energy. Ivy posted a meme about free babysitting equals grandma's problem. Mason wrote, adults cruise. Sorry, not sorry. My mom sent a winking face, and we'll bring the kids souvenirs. My dad wrote nothing, which is his way of agreeing without typing it. I typed and erased 10 different replies. Then I did what I always do when I'm unsure. I got organized. I pulled every receipt, every email. I exported the chat. I made a folder called Cruise Paper Trail. Not because I planned to start a war, but because I was tired of being told my memory was the problem. Building to the showdown. 2 days before embarkation, Mason made that call, the one about no room. He hung up before I could even answer. Minutes later, a new post hit the group chat. A photo of my family in matching shirts, pointing at a suitcase tower. Ivy captioned it, adults only. Manifesting stress-free vibes. Jenna read it. We can still go, she said. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. We will, I said. But not how they think. The confrontation didn't happen in person. It happened the way all modern family fights happen. In a group chat that everyone swears they hate and checks every 5 minutes. I dropped screenshots. The invoice, with my name and the total that made my stomach tighten even though I knew it by heart. The line that showed I paid the deposit and the balance. The call log with the cruise line. A note from the supervisor confirming the lock on the booking and the reversal of unauthorized changes affecting minor guests. Powerful, firm tone. This is the turning point. I wrote, here's the situation. I booked this trip for our family. Plural. If you want an adults-only vacation, book one. I'm taking my kids on the cruise I paid for. The typing bubble popped up and down like a siren. Ivy went first. No need to be dramatic. Mason. Dude, we were just trying to vibe. You're making it weird. Mom. Eston, we thought it would be easier. The ship is crowded. The kids will be bored. Jenna finally weighed in. Our kids were never the problem. Please stop saying that. Mason sent a voice note. His voice had that tight, false calm he uses when he's about to swear. Bro, you're not canceling anything. Everyone is packed. We already posted. Don't embarrass the family. My tone remained level. I'm not canceling. I'm restoring the original plan. Everyone keeps their cabin. Our 2 minors remain in their beds. If anyone tries to remove them again, I will remove whoever made the change from the booking entirely. Ivy, you can't do that. Me. I can. Lead guest. Card on file. Voice code access. Try me. Silence. Then my dad, who never texted during conflict, finally appeared. Son, be reasonable. Slight exhale, a deep realization. I felt something settle inside me. Being reasonable got us here. I typed. New rule. I'm done paying for events where my kids are not welcome. Mason. So what? You're holding the trip hostage. Me, no. I'm honoring what I booked. If you want to change the terms, book your own trip. He tried the guilt pivot. This is why we never ask you for anything. I dropped one more screenshot. A spreadsheet of loans and Venmo notes from the last 3 years. Names blacked out, amounts not. The total at the bottom spoke for itself. Podcast guy made a spreadsheet. Mason wrote, mocking. Adult man can read it. I replied. He went quiet for the rest of the day. Weariness, a lingering sting. The chat did its thing. Side comments. My mom trying to soften things. Ivy posting a reel about packing cubes like none of it was happening. I didn't respond again. That night, my phone pinged with a private message from Mason. You're dead to me if you pull anything at the port. I stared at the words until they lost shape. Then I put my phone face down and tucked my kids into bed. My daughter asked, are we still going on the big boat? Yes, I said. We are. Shift to a lighter, more hopeful tone. Embarkation day excitement. Embarkation morning felt like the start of a road trip when you were a kid. Too bright, too early. Coffee and travel mugs. The car smelled like sunscreen and printer ink. My son counted buses out loud. My daughter wore her glitter sneakers and carried a tiny backpack packed only with crayons and a hairbrush shaped like a unicorn. The terminal buzzed with rolling suitcases and squeaky sneakers. The ship loomed like an apartment complex that learned to float. We took a family selfie, for us, not for the group chat, and got in line. Tension returns, a moment of satisfaction. At security, I saw Ivy first. Head-to-toe neutral palette, giant hat, rolling 2 bags like she was on a runway. She clocked us and blinked, like we were a glitch in her camera. Then I saw my parents in matching windbreakers, my dad's grin just a little too wide. And there was Mason, jaw clenched, his teenage son already filming for a story. I nodded. Morning. Mason looked at my kids, then at me. So you're really doing this? We're boarding the cruise I paid for, I said. He smirked. We'll see. I didn't rise to it. We went through the first checkpoint. The agent scanned our passports, smiled at my daughter's unicorn brush, and pointed us toward the escalator. Behind us, I heard raised voices. "Sir, I'm not seeing a completed check-in for this guest," an agent said. "That's impossible." Mason snapped. "We did it yesterday." "Not with this configuration," the agent replied. "You can't have 3 adults in one cabin unless—" A sense of vindication, of peace. I didn't turn around. I kept walking, Jenna's hand in mine, kids bouncing on their toes. At the final scanner, a supervisor waved us into the priority lane. "Mr. Cole," she said, we spoke on the phone. "Come this way. Your rooms are ready. We've noted your voice code. No changes without you." "Thank you," I said, and I truly meant it. We rode the gangway. The air smelled like salt and new carpet. The ship's horn sounded, and my son hooped like a tiny pirate. I felt a knot in my chest loosen for the first time in days. My phone vibrated nonstop. I ignored it until Jenna gave me a look that said, "You'll be thinking about it anyway." I opened the group chat. Photos. They'd started before us. My parents on a bench. Ivy with a latte. Mason captioned a selfie outside the terminal. "Family traditions missing a few, but we'll survive." Then a new message. "They're saying our boarding times got moved." Ivy wrote, "We're in some other line now." A few minutes later, "Why did my cabin number change from my mom's?" Then Mason, "Call me right now." I typed, "We just got on. Try guest services." He blew up my phone with calls I didn't take. Finally, a text came through with a photo. A line at a customer service desk stretching like a theme park ride. The caption, "They split us up." Jenna raised an eyebrow. I shrugged. "I didn't split anyone," I said. "I returned everything to the original booking. If they were trying to sneak extra adults or push our kids off the manifest, that's on them." Joy, relief, freedom, we found our cabins. Adjoining doors. 2 towel animals waiting on the beds like polite aliens. The kids ran from balcony to bunk to bathroom like it was a museum built just for them. I took a slow breath and let my shoulders drop. An hour later, we were on deck for the sail away. A band played cover songs nobody admitted to knowing the words to. Paper streamers blew sideways. The city slid backward. I leaned on the rail with my kids, pointing at tugboats and pelicans. Down on the quay, I saw them. My family, clustered near a fence, phones up, faces screwed into that combination of anger and theater. They pointed at the ship, then at me, then at a piece of paper. Maybe an updated boarding pass. Maybe nothing. I waved. Not petty, just present. My daughter waved too, because waving is her love language. Mason cupped his hands and yelled something I couldn't hear. His son filmed. Ivy shook her head like a disappointed influencer. My mom dabbed at her eyes. My dad glared. The band hit the chorus. The ship moved. Jenna leaned in. "Do you want to go down there? Try to fix it." I looked at my kids. My son held the rail with both hands like he could steer the whole ship. My daughter's glitter shoes flashed in the sun. I thought of every time I was told to be reasonable, to be quiet, to make it work for everyone but the people I promised to put first. Decisive, powerful statement. "No," I said. "I don't." The horn sounded again. Confetti popped. My phone buzzed with a final message from Mason. "You did this. You stranded your own family." I typed back. "I offered the original plan. You tried to change the guest list. We're done playing that game." Then I put my phone on airplane mode. Pure contentment, precious moments. We explored. The kids discovered the soft serve machine. We found a quiet corner of the buffet with a view of nothing but ocean. At sunset, the sky did that gradient you can't photograph. My daughter fell asleep at dinner with a noodle stuck to her cheek. Jenna took a picture because we are allowed to keep memories that aren't shared with people who don't deserve them. The next morning, a stack of notifications waited when I turned my phone on for a minute to check the time. Texts, voicemails, posts I was tagged in. Ivy had put up photos of family day at the pier with a caption that read, "Sometimes things don't work out, but we make the best of it." The comments were a soup of sympathy and passive aggression. One said, "Some people forget where they came from." Another, "Money changes, folks." I didn't engage. I booked the kids into a cupcake decorating class and a scavenger hunt. I took my son to watch the ship's pilot boat peel away like a toy. I taught my daughter how to order room service fruit like a tiny queen. We watched a dive show where people leapt into a pool the size of our living room while the ocean moved under everything like a slow animal. I held Jenna's hand, and felt the steady thump of a life that made sense. A quiet victory. On day 3, guest services called our cabin. "Mr. Cole," the supervisor said, that same kind voice from my calls, "just letting you know there were attempts again to alter the miners' assignments. Our system blocked them. We've added a note that only you can authorize any changes. Enjoy your day." "Thank you," I said, a little stunned, a lot grateful. That night, while the kids watched an outdoor movie, Jenna nudged me. "You're quiet," she said. "I'm thinking about what comes after," I admitted. She nodded. "Then let's talk about after." The new plan, boundaries, we did. Sitting under a blanket with popcorn we kept stealing from our kids, we made the list we should have made years ago. Boundaries. What we would fund and what we wouldn't. Who gets our time? How we'll handle holidays. How many times we let someone call our kids in the way before we hit block. 0, Jenna said. The number is 0. 0, I agreed. New Year's Eve. Profound realization. Asterisk on New Year's Eve, the deck filled with people in paper hats. A little band of kids, including ours, did laps around the pool as if practicing for a marathon of sugar. Midnight came with a countdown, a horn blast, fireworks reflected in black water. I kissed Jenna, and then kissed the tops of 2 small heads, and told them, "This year is ours." Across the sea of faces, I saw a stranger hand his phone to another stranger so his whole family could be in one photo. I saw a little girl on her dad's shoulders. I saw a grandmother dancing with a toddler. I saw what I had wanted and realized I already had it, just smaller and better. The ship's photographer offered to take a picture of the 4 of us. We said yes. The photo would live on our fridge, not the group chat. That felt like the point. The fallout, the final stand. When we got home, there were messages waiting like a stack of unpaid parking tickets. Some angry, some pretending to be calm. One from my dad that said, "You humiliated us," as if humiliation couldn't possibly be the result of your own choices. One from my mom that said, "You broke your father's heart," a sentence designed to press every button at once. A long one from Ivy about optics and empathy. None from Mason that weren't threats or fragments of threats. I listened to 3 voicemails, and then stopped. I forwarded everything to a new folder, and then moved the group chat into the archive. If I needed documentation, I had it. If I needed peace, I knew where it wasn't. I wrote one final message and sent it to each of them individually, so nobody could perform for the group. I'm done paying for things where my kids aren't welcome. I won't be your bank or your plan B. Don't talk about my children like they are luggage. If you want a relationship with us, it comes with respect. No more gray areas. I put my phone down and went to make grilled cheese with my daughter because she was starving in a very serious way, which means she wanted 2 sandwiches. The impact, the shift. The next week, I recorded a podcast episode called The Cost of Being the Reliable One. I didn't name names. I didn't tell the cruise story. I talked about roles, about how families love you to be a function, a wallet, a fixer, a clown, a ghost, because it keeps the system humming. I talked about boundaries as a gift you give your future self. I talked about how family means nothing without safety. Emails poured in. A guy wrote that his sister had used his credit for years, and he finally froze the account. A woman said her mother called her selfish for not hosting Christmas while she recovered from surgery. A dad said he felt seen for the first time. I printed those and stuck them in a folder marked Keep. My parents didn't answer my boundary text. Ivy responded with a paragraph about tone and gratitude that ended with, "We'll circle back." Mason sent a middle finger emoji, and then 3 days later, a request for $500 just until Friday. I declined. Then I blocked him. Quiet peace, a new beginning. There wasn't a big cinematic showdown. There was just quiet. Quiet group chats, quiet holidays, quiet space in my head where the panic used to sit. In that quiet, other things got louder. Reading on the couch with my kids. Jenna and I planning a spring road trip where we stop for fries at weird roadside places. Family dinners with friends who act like family because they actually show up. My mom's favorite casserole recipe, which Jenna makes better. The sound of my son practicing piano with exactly 6 minutes of focus. My daughter announcing she's starting a rock band made of wooden spoons. On New Year's Day, we printed the photo from the ship. It's the 4 of us, wind in our hair, my daughter's glitter shoes kicked up, my son holding a plastic flute of apple juice like a toast. On the back, Jenna wrote, "We choose us." Reflective, final lesson. I don't know what my extended family will do next. I can't control the part where they rewrite the story at brunch and tell aunts and cousins that I ruined the trip. I can't fix the reflex that makes my mom say, "We were only trying to help," when what she means is, "We wanted it our way." I can't stop Ivy from curating a version of us that gets her more likes. I can't give Mason a conscience. What I can do is keep my list, the one from the blanket under the movie screen on the ship. My kids are not negotiable. My marriage is a priority, not a resource. No is a complete sentence. Love is shown by showing up. I choose small, real joy over big, fake optics. The last message I sent said, "When you're ready to come over for dinner and treat our kids like human beings, the door is open. If you're not ready, that's okay. We're not waiting." I stood at the sink and watched my son build a Lego boat on the counter, because for some reason, the counter is the only place you can build a boat. My daughter asked if we can do the big boat again next year. I said, "Maybe." She said, "But only with us." "Only with us," I said. That night, as I set the photo on the fridge, I realized the piece I'd been missing. The happy ending wasn't the ship leaving while I waved at people who chose to stay behind. The happy ending was the weight that finally lifted when I stopped trying to drag them with me. Happy New Year. Looks like we're the ones going forward. Call to action, sincere and conversational. What about you? Have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with your family, even when it felt impossible? What was the cost of being the reliable one in your life? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear your stories.